one thing that I forgot to mention. I have a poem, a beautiful poem that is written by a poet in Sarajevo, and I want Linda Klein to read that poem. And I will distribute this poem. This is so beautiful that you will take it home.
It's a short poem.
Thank you.
Prayer of a Truth Seeker. O seeker of truth, it is your heart's eye you must open. Know the divine unity today through the path of love for Him. If you object, I am waiting for my mind to grasp His nature. Know the divine unity today through the path of love for Him. Should you wish to behold the visage of God, surrender to Him and invoke His names. When your soul is clear, a light of true joy shall shine. Know the divine unity today through the path of love for Him.
Okay, we are roughly following the time schedule that we had set, so we are in reasonably good shape. Now the floor would be open for questions, and I would like to encourage that all of you get a chance to, who want to ask questions, get a chance to ask your questions, and you could address them to either any of these three members here. Dr. Reverend Don Meyer, and maybe Brother Dawood can pass them on to you as you raise your hand.
The questions if there are written questions.
If you have written questions, you can pass them on to me, and I will pass those questions to whoever you're addressing that. And so now, who, brother?
My question for my question for Rabbi. He explained that Christian accept Jesus Christ as like a God, and the Muslim accepted Jesus Christ as like a prophet. But he doesn't say that as a Jews they said they accept as a man, but he doesn't say that Jews accept as an impostor because they doesn't believe that Jesus Christ as a prophet, and they're expecting like a Messiah to become to save them. So basically they don't believe as a man, but they believe as an impostor. And this is not the first time in the history that they rejected the prophets. They have rejected many prophets before them. For example, they rejected John the Baptist, Elijah, stuff like that. So
please ask your question.
So my question is that whether they believe Jesus Christ as a man, or they believe like Jesus Christ as an impostor.
He already answered that, you know.
I don't mind. I would say that we believe that Jesus was a man, that Jesus was not Messiah, and was not divine in any way. I suspect that we would have the same relationship with Jesus that Muslims and Christians would have with Joseph Smith. The same that Muslims would have, or that Christians would have with Muhammad. We don't accept the prophetic stature.
This is for Pastor Myra. I was wondering if you could expound a little bit on Abraham's connection with Christianity and differences and similarities that you might regard Abraham with the other two religions.
Well, the whole sense of Abraham's acceptance of the call, that becomes very, very important for us, that in many ways become a role model for us of his willingness to leave and follow God's lead wherever that would take him. We see that as a wonderful expression of faithfulness, which we're all called upon to follow. So I think in that sense he becomes a role model for us of faithfulness. In terms of a simple answer. Probably not much beyond that.
Thank you. Yes.
I have two questions that relate to one another, and I'd like to address it to the whole panel. I missed the first two talks that you had, so I'm not sure exactly whether my question is going to hit the point or not. The first one is, but it's my understanding that in both the Jewish faith and in the Muslim faith, and since I was raised Catholic, I believe originally it was taught, it was in the Catholic faith too, is that to a certain extent there's some way in which we live our life that's good, and because of that goodness, that somehow gains us entrance into heaven. And if that's what the Muslim faith teaches and what the Jewish faith teaches, is that it's based on our goodness, our works that we do that gets us into heaven. As a Christian, we are taught that it's our faith that gets us into heaven. Okay, so if we're all going to go back to Abraham, and you look at the scriptures from Abraham, and I think that the Muslim faith starts with those scriptures before it gets to the Quran, right? Abraham in Genesis was granted righteousness based upon his faith, not by any works that he did. And if it's based on works, and Abraham earned his righteousness and is getting into heaven from faith, then that, I don't see how works would get you there. The second question is that if you do believe it's by faith that you would get there, then what faith is it that you believe? For a Christian, it would be the fact that God set a plan in motion that once the fall occurred, that he would send his son, Jesus Christ, to come here and redeem us through his death and resurrection and reconcile that relationship. And our faith in Jesus Christ as our Redeemer and our Lord is what saves us and brings us to heaven. I'm not sure what the faith is that the Jewish faith would have, and I'm not sure where the Muslims stand on that. But the first question is it works-based? And the second, if it isn't, if it's faith, what is the faith based on?
Okay.
Thanks, Lauren. First, I have to say this is a lot of fun. The question of faith versus works is a traditional question of difference between Judaism and Christianity. I have no idea where Islam stands on it, and I'm very happy to hear. Abraham was a mighty man of faith, but he was also a man who backed up his faith with what you would call work, with actions. By bringing people in and being hospitable, by seeking converts actively, by circumcising his children, he did these things that God asked him to do. So for Jews, this idea of work is very important. And in terms of salvation and the entrance to heaven, there is a phrase in the Talmud, which is Jewish sacred writings and laws that the earliest levels were written down in the year 200. The saying is that the righteous of all nations have a place in the world to come. What righteous means